Hello everybody, welcome back to the Zekko Football YouTube channel. Today in this video we're diving into the world of Premier League transfers. More specifically, we're talking 10 Premier League players that must leave their clubs this summer. If you're new to the channel, please make sure that you subscribe, you like the video and turn on notifications. And now, let's discuss 10 Premier League players that must leave their clubs. Let's get the obvious one out of the way. In number 1, we have Harry Kane. It feels like we've been talking about this forever. Oh wait, we have. 29 years old and he scored 30 goals for Tottenham last season. He is one of the best strikers in the world, playing for a team that is no longer in Europe. I don't really care how charismatic Ange Postecoglou is. Harry Kane needs to leave Tottenham. When you're that old, that good, and no longer in Europe for a year, you need to make a change. He needs to go somewhere, whether that be to Bayern Munich, whether that be to Manchester United, whether that be anywhere. He needs to go and win some silverware, and it's something that I think Spurs fans would be very accepting of. Harry Kane is a loyal servant to the club and he's given enough. He needs to go and do something for himself. On top of that, Tottenham are entering a rebuild right now, and it's just not something that Harry Kane has time for. Let him leave, bring in the money, and then replenish the squad with the money that you get from his sale. Let him leave, please. And in at number 2, we have Felipe Coutinho. There's something exciting going on at Aston Villa right now, and unfortunately, I just don't think that Coutinho can be a part of it. He doesn't seem to have the energy or the legs to be useful in Unai Emery's new system, and that has been reflected in his reduced game time over the past year. 20 games played last season, only 7 starts, and in that time, he's only got 1 goal and 1 assist. Not good enough. I think he needs a move. He's got to be on this list. Romelu Lukaku. In what is probably one of the worst transfers ever, Romelu Lukaku must now leave Chelsea. Since he did that interview 3 months into his return to Stamford Bridge, Lukaku's Chelsea career has been in tatters. He's not hid the fact that he doesn't want to return to Stamford Bridge either, with refusing to go to their pre-season training. This is a player that's currently still on the books for Chelsea. What are you doing? Just get him gone. Honestly, I'm not a Chelsea fan and this is annoying me more than it should. The audacity of the man. Just get him gone. I think we all saw Calvin Phillips to Manchester City and thought, that'll work. But it hasn't, has it? Yes, it's a little bit early to be calling time on his career at Manchester City, but it really hasn't worked. He's barely played at all. He struggled to get into any Manchester City side, and I mean really struggled. Last season he only played 593 minutes, 290 of those were in the Premier League. It's barely anything. Now, I'm well aware about the turnaround that players can have in their second season at Manchester City, and who knows, it might come good for him. But with the Euros around the corner, literally next year, Calvin needs to play. And if he doesn't play and if he doesn't get assurances, then it's really going to harm him. And I can see him actually not participating if he gets the same amount of game time. He needs to think hard, and if I were him, I'd really consider moving away. This one's a tough one, but for the right reasons. Emile Rowe has just had a terrible campaign last year. It was absolutely riddled with injury, but even when he was fit, Mikel Arteta did not trust him to come into some of the matches. And if you thought Calvin Phillips' minutes were bad for Man City, you just wait until you hear this. Emile Rowe played 172 minutes in the Premier League for Arsenal last year. That's less than 3 full matches the entire year. He's 22 years of age, and with the amount of game time he had, or the lack of game time that he had, it's absolutely criminal. He needs to play minutes. He needs to go to a club that can really appreciate him and give him the time on the pitch that he deserves. I understand it's difficult considering where Arsenal are at this current point in time. However, he needs to think about his career, and if he's not going to play because of some of the other players in front of him, Kai Havertz, Fabio Vieira, he's not going to beat Martinelli, he's not going to beat Saka, so where does he play? Is there going to be enough game time for him going forwards? I'm not so sure, and if he has doubts, he should consider moving away. We're over halfway now, and so is Fred in his footballing lifespan. 35 games played last season sounds quite good, right? But that's not when I tell you that he only started 12 of them. It was pretty clear through the second half of last season that Erik ten Hag was trying to limit Fred's minutes. And now that Mason Mount has come into the side, I feel like it's going to be even worse this season coming. He just doesn't seem like a player that Erik ten Hag wants to trust in the long term. And for that reason, considering his age and where he currently is in his career, I think a move away, perhaps to another Premier League side, might be for the best. I can actually see him doing extremely well as a team like Fulham, where he can get regular minutes and really give his impact on a side. We don't see too many bust-ups at Manchester City, but we did with this player, Joao Cancelo. Pep Guardiola booted him out of the door faster than anything. His loan move at Bayern Munich didn't really work out, and he's come back to Man City with his tail between his legs. But let's not forget, he's an absolutely world-class player. Considering his bust-up with Guardiola, I can't see him playing again, which means that he needs to find a new home. There is a problem with that though, he's very expensive, and I can't see teams in Europe willing to take the punt on him. And at the same time, I can't see Man City wanting to sell to one of their rivals. level. This puts him in a very difficult situation, but for what it's worth, I hope he gets a move. He's that good and he could really impact another side, especially if Man City don't want him. The signing of Vicario almost has sealed Hugo Lloris' fate at Tottenham Hotspur, and it's not going to be one that he likes, I don't think. Nobody likes to be second choice, and when you consider there's no European football, which means even less chance to get some minutes, you do wonder where the appearances are going to come for Lloris. Couple that with some of the cataclysmic errors that he made last season, and he might be wanting to look for a move away. It's something that I don't think anybody would begrudge him of. 36 years old and looking for a final payday. But one thing's for sure, I don't think he's going to be the number one at Tottenham. After bursting onto the scene 2 years ago, Anthony Elanga has really struggled to make his mark at Manchester United. He's played only 16 games and he's only started 5 of those. At 21 years old, you need to be getting regular minutes, and if he's not getting that at Manchester United, then he needs to be looking elsewhere. It's fairly clear that Erik ten Hag just doesn't trust him in that wide winger position, especially with the amount of competition that he has up against him. A move away or even a loan might be something that would be able to develop his career and still get him into that Manchester United team later on. Of course, all of this could change over pre-season, but at the moment he's getting nowhere near that Manchester United first team, and if that's the case, he needs to go. Last but certainly not least, it's only England's number one. Look, on this one I'll be frank, Jordan Pickford is too good of a goalkeeper to be fighting relegation. He's been a very loyal servant to Everton and he's gotten them out of a scrape more times than I can count. But it's time to go. On top of that, Everton just don't look like they're going to be able to materialise any kind of survival claim yet again. They don't have any funds, and if they don't have any funds, there's only so much that Sean Dyche can work with. And if things go with Everton the way we expect them to due to their lack of funding, you can expect them to be near enough around about the relegation zone yet again. And that's just somewhere that Jordan Pickford cannot be. Well, he can be there, obviously. You get my point, though. He just shouldn't be there considering the fact that he's hoping to get into the England squad yet again for the Euros. There is a problem with this though. He signed a contract extension earlier on this year until 2027. That means they're going to need to pay big bucks for England's number one. Oh, go on, let's do one more. Why one more? Because here on this channel, we like to go one step beyond. Nuno Taric, 23 years of age, and he was put on loan last season by Mikel Arteta. But he had a good campaign at Marseille last season actually, 6 goals while playing at left back and sometimes at left wing. However, it seems that Marseille are not going to pursue him as a permanent transfer, which means he's going to go back to Arsenal and back to a team that I don't really think wants him. The issue is pretty simple. Arsenal have progressed in the year that Taric has been away, and they're not the same side that he used to play for. And if I'm completely honest, the actual attributes and qualities that he does have, I don't actually think suits this Arsenal side. And when you think about competition for places, you're thinking about Zinchenko, you're thinking about Tierney, even Kivior is playing at that left back slot, slotting into midfield. I do think there is a player in Taric, I just don't think Arsenal is the place for him to grow and progress. And that'll do it. Those are your 11 players that should leave their clubs this summer. I hope you enjoyed. Please make sure you leave your thoughts in the comment section below, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.